We're live. My name is Jamie J. I am shareholder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance, where we help stop the bottleneck in your business and your life, and also the host of Live with Bottleneck. Today, I'm going to be chatting with Kathy Goughenour, and we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes new virtual assistants make and how to avoid them. So this is going to be pretty exciting. Bear with me, and we'll go ahead and kick this thing off and get it running. We'll be right back with Kathy. Well, hello there. My name is Jamie J. I am the host of Live with Bottleneck and also shareholder of Bottleneck Distant Assistance. That's not what we're here today. We're here today to talk about how to stop the bottleneck in your business. And we're going to be having a conversation with an amazing person. Her name is Kathy Goughenour. She's a business coach and trainer for virtual assistants. We're going to be talking about the 5 biggest mistakes new virtual assistants make and how to avoid them. And why, oh, why is Kathy going to be able to help you stop the bottleneck in your business? Well, let me tell you. After finding the courage to say bye-bye to her corporate marketing career, congratulations, Kathy Goughenour built a 6-figure virtual assistant business from her tiny house in the middle of a forest. Today, she teaches professional women how to create their own work-at-home virtual assistant and virtual expert businesses so they too can enjoy the freedom, flexibility, and financial security they desire and deserve. Kathy and her expert VA and virtual expert training programs have been featured in Forbes, the Huffington Post, Good Housekeeping, All You, and Wealthy Freelancer, the Wealthy Freelancer. So with any further ado, please allow me to welcome you to Kathy Goughenour. How are you?
Woohoo! Jamie, super excited to be here with you today. Thank you so much for inviting me. I love your enthusiasm.
Oh, well, you know what? I love your enthusiasm because I think we're going to be able to have a pretty great conversation. Every time I've seen you, anywhere I've seen you, you're just so positive and supportive and just, I just love it. I absolutely love it. I think the world needs more Kathy Goughenour excitement. So before we get into talking about the 5 biggest mistakes, I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about who you are, a little bit about your past, and kind of what you're up to now.
Yeah, Jamie, thank you so much for saying how positive and upbeat you think I come across, because that's really the reason I started my own virtual assistant business back in 2001. Before that, I had been working for a Fortune 500 company for almost 20 years. And about 5 years before I stopped getting promotions, about 15 years into my career, I stopped getting promotions and stopped getting, even very big raises at all. So I had really hit a ceiling, and I went in and asked my boss why. And to my great shock, he said it was because I laughed and smiled too much. And that until I changed that about myself, I would never go any further in that company. So I went back to my little tiny cubicle and cried, and then got busy trying to figure out what to do instead, because I did not want to, at the age of 40, have hit a glass ceiling, because I knew I had a lot more to offer. I wanted to be fulfilled, even more fulfilled than I already was. So I explored what it was I could do and how I could help others and still be me. And becoming a virtual assistant was what I ended up doing. And I worked as a real estate virtual assistant from 2001 until 2008. And I created a 6-figure virtual assistant business.
Wow. Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You know what? I think we're everybody's here for a reason, and there's blessings in disguise all over the place. It just when
Yes.
those opportunities present themselves, it's how do you embrace that? How do you take it and run with it? And it seems to me you kind of killed it there. You did awesome. So congratulations. It's not
Thank
easy
you.
generating, your own business, obviously just your own business. And now you've shown sustainability. I mean, you've been doing this for 20 years now, right?
Yeah, I've been in the virtual assistant industry for over 20 years. In 2008, the real estate market tanked here in the US, the bubble burst. And I went from 70 real estate agent clients down to 25 in 30 days. And I thought, do I want to fight this or do I want to do something different? And I had been working on creating training program for virtual assistants for a while then. And I thought, well, I'm going to take my own training program, see if it really works, and identify a new niche. And so I took my own training program, and within 30 days, I'd identified a new niche of professional speakers who are business book authors. Also, if you know anything about professional speakers, in order to stay relevant, they need to write books on a regular basis. So
Yep.
I switched from marketing for real estate agents to marketing for professional speakers and authors. And within 30 days, I had a full business again.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's the epitome of the pivot, the ultimate pivot. So you and I have a lot in common. I've been, with the virtual assistants, we now call them, for what we are doing, distant assistants, but I started in 2006. And guess where I started in?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Real estate.
Yeah.
And guess where I lived? Stockton, California. In 2008
Wow.
was the third hardest city in the entire nation. 1 in 3 homes went into foreclosure. We lost all of our clients in the span of about 3 months. So I can empathize with what you're saying.
Yes.
So much I understand. So kudos to you for having the veracity to just kind of punch through that and get going. I respect you on a whole new level, learning your story. So I wonder if we can kind of jump into the 5 biggest mistakes new virtual assistants make and how to avoid them, because I think this is good. This is good for even beyond virtual assistants. But what are some of those mistakes?
Yeah. And Jamie, I love that you said it's good for business owners to know this too, who are thinking about potentially hiring virtual assistants, because they can watch out for these mistakes also. So I have a 3 Ps scenario that I'm always looking for. First, I train on these 3 Ps for any VAs that want to become well-paid VAs. And I also recommend that people are looking to hire VAs look for these 3 Ps. And they are professional, proactive, problem solver. And so this is what I'm going to focus the mistakes on. Okay. So first we're going to talk about 2 mistakes that would make you not a professional. Okay. And actually we're going to do 3 mistakes that would make you not a professional as you should be. Okay. One is, do you have a contract? Okay. And a contract protects both the virtual assistant, the distant assistant, and the person hiring them, the business owner hiring them. So both the VA and the client, the contract protects both, because you both know exactly what you're getting, what your expectations are, and if things don't work out, how to exit it. So having a contract is crucial. What do you think about that, Jamie? Do you agree, having a contract?
Absolutely, unequivocally, yes. Up, down, left, sideways, right. Not only is it professional, but it also helps make sure that everybody's expectations are what they expect this relationship to be and hopefully grow into. So having that down there is just kind of a good way of saying, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm expecting for my assistant to do. And the assistant knows exactly on the other side, this is what I'm getting into. And I'm not going to have, too many surprises.
Right, exactly. Because scope creep could happen without that contract. I know, as somebody who my entire staff are independent contractors. And I love that you call virtual assistants distant assistants. I call them virtual experts. So we've both taken it to a whole nother level, because I think that's good to be more specific than virtual assistant. And this is sort of an aside, but the other thing that I've noticed with the term virtual assistant is that once Google and Apple came out with their virtual assistant systems, then it's so confusing, right?
Oh my gosh. So I don't know about you, but I try to keep up on the latest. And so I have a certain set of Google alerts, that will ping me and email me. And so I put in virtual assistant as one of my alerts. And it's very rare that when I get an article about virtual assistants, that it actually means a real human being. It's about AI, machine learning, all this other stuff.
Exactly.
And so that was one of the biggest motivators for us to kind of switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. And how awesome that you did that before COVID. I'm assuming you did it before COVID. When did you make that shift in the title?
Unfortunately, no, it was during COVID.
During COVID is good too.
We lost a lot of business. And it's because a lot of our clients are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, small business. They closed and they pulled back money and stuff. So we lost a lot of business. It freed us up for some time to kind of reimagine who the heck we were, what were we doing? And so we took advantage of that downtime and through a good friend of ours, Christopher Lockhead, he helped us kind of reimagine the category. And that's what we did.
I love that. I love distant assistant.
I'll tell you. You did it before.
Yeah.
Way before.
Yeah. So I actually trademarked the term virtual assistant about 3 years ago. And virtual expert about 3 years ago. And what I teach is how to specialize. So instead of being a generalist, I teach how to specialize and to niche down. So for example, I was a real estate marketing virtual expert. You could be a web designer virtual expert. You could be a copywriter, and on and on and on. So what happened with virtual experts in the COVID time is their businesses in general, the ones that shared with me how their businesses did, they grew about 130%. Because they were able to reach out to the clients that they have in their area of expertise and say, hey, let me help you. You don't have a website. Let's get you online. So for example, one of the women in my program, her name's Kate. She was working with a construction company who was totally brick and mortar. It's a construction company, right? And when COVID hit, she reached out to them and said, hey, I have some ideas for you on how we might go online and how you could make money in another way. So pivoting, like you said, Jamie. And she was one that shared with me that her business grew 130% as a result of that. And in addition to that, once COVID kept going on, and now that it is continuing on, everybody has had to go virtual, remote, distant. And so now companies that were in the olden days before COVID saying, oh, it doesn't work to have people work from home. Well, they were forced to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of work from home policies have been created since. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which is doing nothing but helping our business, our industry, which I love. And we already knew, Jamie, how great it was, right?
Yeah,
we knew that it was powerful.
It's so funny. Kathy, the other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and I reminded him that he had said this to me months ago. And he said, Jamie, you've been social distancing before social distancing was a thing. And I said, yeah, kind of, it's been 15 years. And I've been doing it. But a lot of people haven't been. So it's totally changed the dynamic. And I expect that's one of, COVID is not good. But if you look for the silver linings in everything, COVID could be construed as a blessing in disguise. Perhaps.
Absolutely.
So capitalizing on, so yes, I agree with you for professional. What about proactive? Is that an example?
Okay.
Of what you
So,
talked
and
about?
I've got two more professionals. So I said the contract. Another one is correctly pricing. And the reason I'm saying correctly pricing is because you can overprice, you can underprice. And you can hurt yourself, your business as a VA. And so I have a rule of thumb. And my rule of thumb is, if clients that you talk with, potential clients, prospects who you talk with, who have raised their hand and say, I might be interested in hiring a virtual assistant, a distance assistant, a virtual expert, I might be interested. Let's have a conversation. If 50% of those people hire you, then you are priced correctly. And you should keep trying out that pricing until you get right about that 50% mark. If you're at 80% of people saying yes to hiring you, you're priced too low. Okay? If you're at 20% of people hiring you, you're either priced too high, or you're not yet great at having that conversation with the prospect and demonstrating your value.
Got it. Pricing is important.
So, yeah. And let me tell you, when I first started my VA business, I thought I should get 100%. I thought everyone should want to hire me. And so I competed on, well, what would I have to do to get you to hire me? Which was a horrible idea. Right?
Wow. So how do you help people now?
How do I personally? What is?
Well, like, so you said, what can I do to get you to hire me? What's my price, and all of that, to where, when did you realize that, hey, 50% of the time is good?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I realized was, when I would do whatever it took to get a client to hire me, I was not setting boundaries. I was not taking my own value into consideration. And I was getting what I call nickel and dimers, people who really did not value my service and my time. So it was a constant battle then. And they were always asking for more time and less pay. And thankfully, I hired a coach who said, oh my gosh, are you really good at what you do? And I said, yes, I think I'm the best at what I do. And she said, then you should be priced at the highest. Go research what the highest is and then price yourself there. And believe it or not, when I did that, Jamie, I mean, I was more shocked than anybody. I started getting those higher quality clients who really valued me. And I asked them, why did you choose to hire me? And they said, literally like they were puzzled. You're the best at what you do, right? Because you're priced the highest. And I said, you're right, I am. And they said, well, that's why, because I want the best. And Jamie, you've been in real estate, so real estate agents, they're always out for a bargain. So if they were willing to pay more for the best, then any business owner who really wants that high value, who really wants an assistant who is going to not be an expense, but be a profit generator, because that's what I look for. I look for the type of assistant who can help me generate profit, who can increase my bottom line, whether that's helping me save money in some way or helping me earn more money. And I don't think a lot of business owners realize that that's what a really good virtual assistant, distant assistant, virtual expert can do for you.
Boy, you just nailed it right on the head there. I think that's one of the biggest things. And I don't think a lot of people realize that in the beginning. And oftentimes when people are looking for, as you said, a virtual assistant or a virtual expert, they don't understand the value, which you just so clearly stated. And what I really love about what you just talked about is that, isn't scope creep a blessing towards education? Like how much you learn about, you said nickel and dime earlier, you said scope creep, but that's kind of scope creep, right? They're trying to get as much for as little, and that's just because they don't value. And boy, what an education! I'm so happy that you were able to realize, hey, wait a second, I'm worth a lot more than that.
That's another way to look at incorrect pricing. Is I just talked to a woman who has flat rate per month, and she said, I seem to be working all the time and not making any money. And I said, well, how many hours are you working? And she told me, and I said, do the math, divide the amount you're making by the amount of hours you're working? And she did. And she started crying. And I said, what was it? Because I'd already done the math too. $5 an hour. And I said, yeah, you're only making $5 an hour. And in the US, you can't live on $5 an hour. So you've got to make sure that you've got that correct pricing and to be professional. And then the third thing for professional is treat your business like a business from the get-go, not like a hobby. If you treat your business like a hobby, you're not going to be seen as a professional. So, of course we work from home and there can be noise in the background. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is set hours that you're going to work. And if you need to shift those hours, let your clients know. When you're going to be gone on vacation, let your clients know in advance. And if an emergency arises, as soon as you can let them know, let them know. Also, before an emergency arises, when you first onboarding your clients, find out how they would prefer to handle things when an emergency arises. Will they take over? And are they okay with you just, here, I'm sorry, I have an emergency, I have to be gone. You take over, or do they want you to have a backup prepared, ready to go?
I love that.
So that is the third and final segment of the professional.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. You know what, this is so amazing. One of our clients said, I just want to hire my boss. I want to hire someone that's going to, remind me and, hey, did you do this and that and that? Because us entrepreneurs, we get so busy. Us business leaders, we get so busy, and sometimes it's hard. Like, it sounds so simple to show up to a meeting, but oh my gosh, John, something happens, and if your assistant's right there, Johnny, Sally on the spot saying, hey, 5 minutes, you got to stop what you're doing, 5 minutes. And actually, I was on with my assistant right before our call, and she said, Jamie, we were right in the middle of the conversation. She goes, oh, you got to go. Okay, bye. Like, just like that. I mean, it was, those little things mean the world. And that's what an assistant can do. And
I was on with my assistant also, not right before you, or I would have been a little bit more on time, but a half an hour before that. And I was thanking her because she does my email and calendar, and in all of my calendar, like the time slot for us, she had the link to everything that I needed to know. The link where I clicked to come here, the information about you, everything on there. And if there's a task that I need to do, she has a link to the information for me to do that task. So I don't have to go try to find it. It's all right there. And it saves me a minimum of 40 hours a month.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's fantastic. So if we go on to the second of the 3 Ps, that is proactive.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So what I'm looking for, and I think most business owners are really looking for, and you kind of already talked about it a little bit, is someone who is not going to necessarily be a yes person, right? So for example, I am not techie at all. So when I go to my assistant and I say, hey, I want to achieve this goal. Like, for example, recently I said, I want to set up an affiliate program. And I said, I'm thinking about using this software. And she said, I know a lot about this already, and that software isn't going to work with the systems that you already have in place. May I make a suggestion on software I do recommend? And I'm like, yeah, I would love to know that. So a yes person would have said, okay, we'll do that software, even though in their mind they knew that's not going to work, right? A proactive person shares their knowledge and shares their insights and says, here's something that you might want to think about. Here's what I would recommend.
I love it. I love it. And then the third is the problem solver.
Problem solver. So I don't know about you, but I hire assistants, I hire independent contractors so that I don't have to do the work, right? So that I don't have to fix the problems. So when they come to me and say that login's not working, or the link's no longer working, or whatever other problem has arisen, I expect them to either come to me with a recommended solution, or for them just to solve it and not even come to me at all if they can. So they need to be solving problems on their own. What do you think about that, Jamie?
Yes. Yeah, so one of there's a saying, and people that watch my show will know they've heard this before, but there's this thing that goes around, and I know you've heard of this saying. Well, I shouldn't say that. I would assume, and we all know what assume means. I would think or imagine you would have heard of the saying, and it's people say you as a business owner should work on your business, not in it.
Yes, I've heard that many times.
I disagree with that in the beginning, because we need to set up our business. We need to set up the workflows. We need to set up how we want to run that business. And as long as we document something as if it's going to be for the last time, right? Do something as if it's the last time you're ever going to do it. Document that stuff so that you can identify. When we all start our business, we're all excited. Hey, I'm starting a business. I'm super happy. Oh, this is so much fun. But then all of a sudden we start saying, oh, this thing doesn't give me energy at all. No energy out of this. I need to, the good news is you document that. You only have to do it one more time, then you could delegate it. Yes. So if you can get that stuff off of your table, now pretty soon, now you are working on your business, right? So I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but your question sparked that memory. And I was like,
yeah,
yes. And eventually you get to a point where you're, 75, 80% of the work you're doing is what you want to be doing. You still have that 20, 25% you got to trudge through, you're talking with legal or dealing with the CPA or, doing that stuff. For me is not exciting. For the CPA, they love it, right?
Exactly.
I like this. I like talking to Kathy and learning more about what you're doing. And, I just finished writing a book. I'm so happy that I wrote the book. Like that's the stuff that I'm so excited about. And that's what I want to spend my time doing. So long story longer, that was my kind of answer to your question with a little side note there.
Well, and I want to add on to what you're saying there, Jamie, because this is a really good point, which is if you are a lucky one who really knows how to run your business like that and that you do document it up front, congratulations to you. I was not that smart. So I was well into my business, and I know a lot of other business owners who do that. You get well into your business and suddenly you're like, oh no, I am too far in. I need help. Now it's an emergency to need help. I can't get everything done. So think about hiring an assistant before you get into that, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed, right? Because if you can hire that assistant earlier, as soon as you begin to think, maybe I need one, if you're already thinking, maybe I need one, you need one. And you can start them off with a smaller project, smaller amount of work to do, and help and have them grow with your business so that, yes, you have that documentation. Now, if you're somebody like me or like many of the business owners I know who weren't smart enough to do it early on, and here you are, already in several $100,000, already lots of clients coming in, and you can't keep up with it. Well, what I did, because I also hate to write SOPs, standard operating procedures, I hired virtual experts who are good at that, and they wrote them for me.
Yes. I tell you, it's probably one of the biggest things I hear. I'm so busy, just hire somebody, just get me somebody, get them in here working. I'm so busy, I can't do this. Okay, well, do you have the role and responsibilities? Well, just get them in here, I'll tell them how to do it. Well, and then how are they going to know what to do? Well, I don't have time to train them, just find me an expert. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, do you have your process in place? You have workflows for them to follow along? No. I'll just tell them what to, and the whole time I'm going, oh my gosh. And I said, so we need to slow down in order to speed up. And a lot of times they say, I don't have time to write out my systems, my processes. I don't have time to train. Are you pretty busy right now? Well, yeah, that's why I'm looking for an assistant. Where do you think you're going to be in 3, 6, 9, 12 months from now? You have to slow down a little bit. And it's hard for people to do that. And then I found the other thing to do that I found with a lot of business leaders. I mean, it's hard for them to get what's in their head out and to kind of let go. And
Yes.
that's one of the biggest
Absolutely.
challenges I've
It's
seen.
really hard.
And
Delegating
that's where the
is
assistant comes in,
really
right?
difficult.
Yeah, because the
Mhm.
assistant can pull that out of them.
Yes, absolutely. So back to just talking with my assistant, I was bragging to her or complimenting her on how great a job she does, because we've worked together 2 years now, but within the first 90 days, she had figured out that I don't write stuff down. I talk. I love to talk. Jamie, I bet you love to talk too. So I like to talk. And if she needs me to get something done, she can jump on a Zoom session with me and we can talk it out in 30 minutes or less versus asking me for the next 2 days to write it down. Right. So get to know how you work best, allow your assistant to figure out how you work best. And then you guys work together in that way, and you're going to be so much more productive and efficient. Some people would prefer to write stuff down. Some people would, like me, again, not techie. So I don't even know how to log into Asana, which is you know what Asana is.
Yeah, it's a project management tool.
Yeah, project management. My team runs Asana, and they let me know what I need to do, but primarily they do it. And I'm doing the CEO level work now, which is where I want to be. Just like you're talking about, Jamie, that's where I want to be.
Good for you.
Not down in the trenches anymore. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Oh, I love that. I love that. So I know we were going to get into this. We're coming close to being wrapped up here on time, but I really wanted to touch base. So we went over the 3 Ps. And I wanted to see.
And we did the 5 mistakes. Those were also 5 mistakes.
Oh, they were. Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was clear on that.
Yeah. If you want me to go through the 5 real fast?
Yeah, let's go through the 5.
Okay. So a mistake is not to have a contract. Mistake number 2 is incorrect pricing. Mistake number 3 is treating your business like a hobby. Mistake number 4 is being a yes person. And mistake number 5 is asking the clients to solve the problems.
Got you. That makes sense now. Okay. I was waiting for step 1, step 2. So that's
Sorry. I kind of mixed that in there, didn't I?
Well, so before we wrap up though, how do people get in touch with you if they want to learn more?
Well, I have a special link set up for anybody that is listening to your podcast. It is virtualexperttraining.com/bottleneck. And if you go there, you're going to find information on just about anything you want to find out about. And you can also just go to virtualexperttraining.com, but I recommend going to /bottleneck so that you can you can see Jamie there, and there'll be additional links there to learn more.
Yeah, you'll have to let Kathy know that you saw this on here so that, come on, let's support Kathy.
Yeah. Let's support Jamie. Woo. By the way, Jamie, I love your blue color. That is one of my favorite colors. Yeah. And I was just looking. My background, this green. So you've got my brand colors right here. Thank you so much.
Hey,
with my green background and the blue, those are my brand colors.
Oh man, that's great. Well, we're getting really close, Kathy, to the time here. But before we wrap up, I wanted to know: is there anything else you'd like to mention? Any tips? Any strategies? Any advice? Anything at all?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I hear a lot, and Jamie, you already started talking about this, is as a business owner, how do you know what to delegate? And one of the things that you were just talking about is think about what it is that you don't like to do. Well, how do you know? Sometimes what is it that I don't like to do? Well, what are you always procrastinating about? Right? Write that down. That's going to probably be what it is you need to begin to delegate. But one other thing that I did that really helped me was what's called a time audit. Have you ever done a time audit, Jamie?
I have.
Of yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So
shockingly
it is
revealing.
tedious. It's tedious to do the time audit, but it is well worth the time to do it. And the way I did it was I wrote down every 15 minutes, I wrote down what I was doing for a whole week. And then I identified what were the things that I enjoyed, what were the things I didn't enjoy, what were the things I didn't get done that I should have gotten done in that time. And then identified those things that I could delegate. And don't do it just once, do it, delegate. Then a month or at least once a quarter, do a time audit and see, especially if you're incredibly efficient and you don't need any extra time, then you don't need to bother doing it. But otherwise, you do need to continue doing it because you will continue to find areas that are slowing you down. Bottlenecks. What a great title. Bottlenecks in your business that are slowing you down that you can delegate.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's a really important thing. Brian Moran wrote a book called The 12-Week Year. And that 12-week year basically is what I did for an entire year. And you're right. It's 12 weeks, once a quarter, you kind of went down. So I mapped out every single thing that I did for an entire 12 weeks, did it again, rinse and repeat, and I became very, very efficient. My wife didn't really like it too much. I really adhered to that program. I really got into it. But it really taught me and it trained me on how to be more efficient and respect my time a little bit more. And then what we do here is we create what we call as a delegation roadmap, which is very similar to finding this out. So if you're trying to figure out what you can delegate, list everything down on a piece of paper and assign 2 values to those. Everything you do that you repeat, things you like, things you don't, what do you do? And then assign 2 values. Number 1, is it something you must do, or can you delegate this to someone else who can do it 75% as good as you or better? Because you have to remember, they're not you. They're going to be learning it in the beginning. So they're going to have some growth there so that your expectations are set. And then the second thing is, does it give you energy or drain you of energy? Then you take all of the items, all of those tasks, and you have a subset of tasks of a list now, a subset list of all the tasks that, number 1, you can delegate, and number 2, you don't like doing. And now you can start kind of breaking those down into a role with responsibilities. And we found that to be very effective. So I'm basically just kind of echoing what you just said. I just really enjoy that you brought that up. I think it's super important for people to know and realize.
Yeah. And Jimmy, I'll take it a step further even. Yes. And please tell me your assessment of this, but I think a 90-day window is really what you should think about as the onboarding, people getting to know each other, learning to work together. Do you think 90 days is about right?
We actually have a program when we get a new client called the 90-day onboarding process.
Cool.
Absolutely.
You got 2 experts here who've worked in this industry for a long time, and we're in agreement on this. It's got to be right. So, so make sure that you're giving your new assistant that length of time and giving yourself that length of time to get used to working together and working out any kinks. And then after that, quickly, what I have found, Jamie, is those things that I thought, well, nobody could ever do this as good as me. They have actually done better than I've done it. And then you got to let your ego go and be happy. Yay, that frees up my time. They did it better. I can move on to the next thing. And crazily, every single time I came to the next thing and I'm like, oh, they're not going to be able to do this as good as me. Yeah. And then I would do that time on it and go, well, I have to try it. And I have yet to find one thing that someone cannot do better than me.
Yeah. And you know what it is too, we live in a society of just instantaneous results. So I always say it like this. Here's your assistant on day 1. Now day 30, maybe they're here.
Yeah.
Day 60, you're starting to really get things going. And by day 90, they start getting up here. Why do they start getting up there? Because they've taken what you're doing and that's all they're focused on while you're focusing on other things. And they're living, breathing it every day. And they're finding more efficient ways to perform the tasks that you were doing that you couldn't spend all that time on because you were doing 50 million different things. Right. So that's kind of,
that is exactly right.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. And Um, are we out of time? Because I have one more like tangent.
Go ahead.
Going here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So are distant assistants, are they independent contractors versus employees?
Yeah, they're not employees. And
okay, cool. Neither are virtual experts. I just wanted to be sure we were both on the same page there. So independent contractors, no matter what the title is, but distant assistants, virtual experts, virtual assistants, freelancers. Some studies have shown that they get work done 3 times faster than an employee. And the reason is exactly what you were talking about, Jamie. They are so narrowly focused on getting exactly what needs to be done, and they start, they're only charging for the productive time. They're not charging for going to the bathroom and going to the drinking fountain and having coffee with your colleagues and all of that. And that's why they're able to get work done 3 times as fast.
I love it. I love it. And Kathy, you are just a wealth of knowledge. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. I am sure people are going to absolutely love this. So yeah, we are getting pretty close to the end of the time here. So is there anything else?
Nope. I think that, I could talk about this all day long, Jamie, just like you.
Yeah, you and me both.
We can read this stuff. And I love it so much. This industry is just such an amazing industry to be part of and to help others grow their businesses with. And I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come and talk with your audience today.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for taking the time. What an honor. Thank you. Well, can you hold on one second while I wrap up?
Absolutely.
Okay. Hold on one quick second and I'll wrap up here. Isn't Kathy great? See, I absolutely love having conversations like this because this is what I'm so passionate about. And she brought something up that I thought was really good. And I hope this resonates with you. The work that an assistant can do for you and or your business can help free you up for the things that you really want to do. Spend more time with your family, or be the CEO that you've never really been, and really, really spend your time on that. Donate to charities, go speak at events, and not have to worry about the mundane details that are very, very important in any business, but that don't necessarily need as much attention from you as these other bigger items to grow your product, your brand, your service. So I really appreciate Kathy for bringing that up because that just resonated with me big time. I want to say I highly recommend go check out virtualexperttraining.com/bottleneck, or you can just go to virtualexperttraining.com. Either way, Kathy Goughenour, and go check her out and see what her services are. If you're finding yourself overwhelmed, it's probably time that you go and check out and see what an assistant can do for you. So go check out virtualexperttraining.com and see how they might be able to help you out over there. Highly, highly, highly encourage it. So I just want to have a couple housekeeping things. If you enjoyed this episode, you can go to Bottleneck.Online/BTV. That stands for Bottleneck Television, to learn how you can break through the bottleneck in your business. And you can see hundreds of videos just like this from other awesomely talented, unbelievably smart entrepreneurs that are sharing everything that they know to help you improve your business and your life. And my new book, Quit Repeating Yourself, came out on Tuesday. It's how today's leaders are using systems and processes to grow their business the right way. It's everything from explores the intersections of culture, leadership, systems, processes, recruiting, and hiring. Talk about quit repeating yourself. Quit doing the things that you don't need to be doing, right? I want to say a special thank you again to Kathy Goughenour, business coach and trainer for virtual assistants. We talked about the 5 biggest mistakes new virtual assistants make and how to avoid them. We also talked about the 3 Ps, and I wanted to say a couple more things coming up. If you missed my last episode, I had a wonderful conversation with Rama Youssef. She's a student and author of A Rose from War that's coming out soon. From war-torn Syria to the United States at the age of 12, came to the U.S., has not seen her parents since. She's in university now, 21 years old, and I just thought it was an incredible conversation. You might really enjoy that one. And then coming soon to your earbuds, I'm going to be talking with Daniel Kroc. He's the personal CFO of Atmos Planning, and we're going to be talking about linking legacy and vision to wealth and quality of life for entrepreneurs. And that's coming Tuesday, September 7th at 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. Again, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Live with Bottleneck and listening to the wonderful conversation and unbelievable CEO Kathy Goughenour of Virtual Expert Training. So without any further ado, remember, create your own ripple. We'll talk to you soon.